Hi Gemini, I'm Ronique and welcome to Scorpio Soul Time. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to this February 2024 monthly tarot reading where we're going to look at the astrological energies that we will be experiencing throughout the month of February. Now, if you haven't already watched January's readings, I would suggest you do that for your sun, moon, and rising. I have linked them below. Remember, January ended with some really big energy. We had Pluto move into the sign of Aquarius. We also had that full moon in Leo, as well as Uranus stationed direct in Taurus. So lots of energy to end January. And as we come into February, we have big energy as all planets are now direct. Okay, Gemini? So before we pull the cards, I do want to thank each and every one of you for your likes, subscribes, and comments, and giving my videos a thumbs up. Really lets me know these readings are resonating with you. If you would like a personal tarot reading from me, I have also linked that below. We can look at whatever type of decision making you could have coming up in the future. If there is something that you have been working on, like your career or relationships, I would love to look at those areas of your life for you. So I will link that below. And if you use the code DRAGON by February 29th, you can get 15% off of your reading. All right, Gemini, let's get right into it. So I have put all of the important calendar dates in the description as well. So take a look at those, okay? All right, Spirit, what do we have for Gemini? You start off the first week of February with that 8 of Swords, as well as the Sun card, Major Arcana in reverse. The second week, you do have the 6 of Swords, as well as the 5 of Wands. The third week, you do have the Page of Swords, as well as the Judgment card, Major Arcana in reverse. And the fourth week, you do have the Strength card, another Major Arcana, as well as the Temperance card, Sagittarian energy there. So lots of Major Arcana cards. Let's make sure everything is in view for you here. We're going to go ahead and move these cards so you can have everything in the frame. And I think this is a really interesting time for everyone, Gemini, but I can already see from your cards that you all look like you've been experiencing possibly some tumultuous times with some people around you, especially with that 5 of Wands, 6 and 8 of Swords. So let's go ahead and see what energy you ended January on, just to see what energy you're going to be working with at the beginning of February, okay? Spirit, what energy did Gemini end January 2024 on? King of Swords in reverse. So I do think, Gemini, for several of you all, you are dealing with energy from possibly an announcement, possibly someone who has power, possibly not going in your favor, or possibly not having all of the information that you would have liked, or there's some type of boss or leadership person that could have announced something back in January that definitely was not resonating with you. I do think if this is you in terms of the King of Swords energy, maybe there's something you weren't able to get off of your chest, or you weren't too sure, you didn't have the clarity back in January. I do think that this is going to be energy that you are entering the month of February with, okay? So just keep that in mind throughout your reading. Let's go ahead and look at the overarching energy for the month of February. Spirit, what do you want Gemini to know for the month of February? And you have the 3 of Cups. Now that is some really beautiful energy compared to what we were just talking about with that King of Swords, right? So Spirit is reminding you that there is some type of celebrations to be had by time you finish the month. And I do think Spirit wants to remind you that just because times weren't that great back in January doesn't mean you can't turn things around. We do have all planets direct here in February. So this could be a great time for meeting new people, getting together with colleagues, with friends, with family. There is some type of celebrations that could be had by the month of February, which is a beautiful energy to see, okay, Gemini? So let's go ahead and go week by week. I do want to say, just looking at the month at a glance, what I think is interesting is that this Eight of Swords and Six of Swords, the very beginning of February, looks like there's some type of information that possibly you didn't have. Possibly you are feeling like you're stuck here. There's some type of conversations with people that everyone is not on the same page, not getting along. But by the time you get to this third and fourth week, there is some type of finality about where you're at. Some type of decision, some type of information comes in that helps you make a clear judgment to be able to move on. And I do think by the time you end the month, you're really weighing some options. You're really trying to figure out what is the next direction you're going to be going in. I do think between that Three of Cups and that King of Swords, you can see how different those two are. And I do think that you all are starting off with this lots of mental energy, with that Aquarius energy, but you're ending the month with more of this Sagittarian, Leo, fiery energy, where it's like trying to balance some of those issues that you have been thinking about. So just keep that in mind throughout the month of February, okay? And let me know in the description box below if this resonates with you, if you know what that topic is or what challenges possibly you have been having. Now, we do start off the month with Aquarius new moon on the 9th, Mercury entering Aquarius on February 5th, and the sun squaring Uranus in Taurus. Around that Aquarius new moon, pay particular attention to what it is that comes up for you around wanting to start new, wanting to have fresh ideas. I do think this sun is a really happy energy, and it could be stemming from that full moon in Leo that we had back on January 25th. So if there was some kind of challenges or information that came out at that time, I do think that you're starting to contemplate how to get out of those situations, how to flip things over into a more positive way. So I do think that that first week of February is going to be very good for you to figure out what challenges you are trying to overcome, okay? I do think by the time you get to the second week of the month, this is going to be really interesting with you and people around you, you and colleagues, you and family members. I do think that many of you all, by the time you come to that Lunar New Year, Year of the Dragon, which is February 10th, Mars enters Aquarius on the 13th, and Mars is conjunct Pluto on the 14th. For any of you all who have been in some type of mental, or it almost feels like this conflict, but more like psychological conflict, be aware of anyone trying to play psychological games with you, especially with Mercury in Aquarius. You have Mars in Aquarius as well. There's some type of power struggles going on here from a mental standpoint that second week of the month. Don't fall for it, and don't let people get you out of your funk. If you need to remove yourself, move on to better waters ahead. I do think that that is a positive thing for you the second week of February. Now, by the time you get to the third week of February, where you have the sun entering Pisces on the 18th, Mercury enters Pisces on the 23rd, and then we have a Virgo full moon on the 24th. For many of you all, that Virgo full moon could bring some type of clarity. That Page of Swords is showing you someone could come into your life during this third or fourth week of the month and offer some way to remove yourself from kind of like this muddiness that you had there in the first and second weeks of the month. I do think that you're coming to a finality and you're like, okay, I'm ready to move on. This is no longer for me. This job is not for me, or the people that I've been associating myself, I'm ready to move on. So be prepared for that. I do think that happier times are awaiting you with that Three of Cups, but you got to get over these first few weeks with that confusion and all of that like intellectual kind of mind games, okay? By the time you end the month, we do have Sun conjunct Saturn and Mercury conjunct Saturn on February 28th. I do think this is going to be a big day, especially moving into March. Many people will have some kind of conversations around power struggles, or people who are trying to have others get taught a lesson. And I do think this Temperance card and Strength card, this is all about balance. This is all around where is it that you need to pull yourself away from people that are toxic, groups that are toxic. Find your own way to balance out maybe your work life and your home life. I do think that many of you all will go into March with a new sense of like feeling relieved that you moved on from a group of toxic people that were no longer serving you. I do think that by time you end February, you also are much happier. It feels like that King of Swords in reverse at the beginning of the month, and now you have this Three of Cups. Happier times are ahead, Gemini, which is really nice to see. And I do think by the time you get into March, you all are going to feel a lot lighter, a lot happier, and relieved that you moved past those toxic energies. So I think this is a really good month for you all, Gemini. So overall, lots of things going on. This is, kind of subpar, or whatever you say, for everybody. I think this is what everyone will be going through because we have so many forward momentum now with all the planets direct. So be aware of those trying to play mind games, and make sure you're staying true to yourself and removing yourself from all toxic energies, okay? All right, Gemini, if you want to have a personal tarot reading, take a look at the link below. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you all have a great February, and I'll talk to you later.